As much as late-night TV hosts and Saturday Night Live are making fun of how Trump behaved, well, Trump, J.D. Vance, and what might be called the media that was allowed into the Oval Office at the time, Russian media and Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend, it's easy to laugh. It's really easy to laugh. It's incredibly easy to be so sad about it. But under the laughter is this, we should break up with the US tone. Canadians are not not serious when they're starting to call the US the USSA, a little play on USSR. Canada's never loved America because Americans tend to be quite rude when they visit. But you're the country below us. We'll be friendly, we'll be nice. It's been a few weeks and people are still aggressively boycotting American products. People are still circulating lists of don't buy this, buy this. Here's a product you probably didn't know was American. Hey, what are we doing about cars? Because we were buying American. There's a huge Ford plant in Ontario. People are figuring out where the car is made. Is more of it made in Mexico than the US? Is that a better car? Weeks later, the level of awareness of Canadians of no, we're in this for the long haul. Even the neighborhood group where our house is, which is usually never political, they're sharing lists hard. People are posting oh, I went to Loblaws and this item I didn't realize but I turned it over, it's American. But it's not just that Canada is pissed, and rightfully so, and I assume Mexico's got the same deal going on right now. But the US took over for Great Britain because Great Britain got to the point that basically our country is at now, overextended, internationally hated, and overly confident. It's basically time for us to no longer be the world leader, but the next assumed world leader is China. They're big enough, they have the resources. We're not completely fans of China. Should you refer to their leader as Winnie the Pooh? Nobody will know you. You will end up in a detainment center, never to be seen again. But basically, with every meeting Trump has had in the past few weeks with world leaders, he is selling the idea to the rest of the world that the US is no longer in charge. They don't know how to deal with international leaders. They are not at all interested in participating internationally whatsoever. The US is making itself very easy to break up with, but it's also really helping China because it's positioning them as in, look at our leader, coherent sentences, and willing to work with other countries. I know Trump's not trying to do it, but he really is selling America is unfit to be the number one country hard. And the thing is, you're okay, fine, well then we won't spend all our money on military protecting you guys. No, at this point, other countries are having conversations without us. We could very easily find ourselves outside of trade agreements. If you think shit's expensive now. You remember in COVID when there was a slight supply chain issue and you guys hated it? Well, imagine the same situation, only there won't ever be a shipment container arriving on our shores. It's easy to laugh. But even Lithuanian newspapers are now starting to take shots at America, not just oh, those superior assholes, but outright, this shit's embarrassing for you guys. We're helping China's bad PR at the moment. They did make some missteps. They should have technically almost been in power by now, but they're about 8 years behind where they should be. But every time Trump meets with somebody, every time Trump opens his mouth, he's literally convincing the rest of the world we should no longer be the world leader. And with more people on Red Note figuring out that China's not as terrible as we were always told. Granted, you're seeing a small section, but there are just stresses that people in China don't have that Americans... Trump is doing a really good job of making sure the rest of the world doesn't want to play with us anymore. And I don't think people fully understand how risky that is for everyday American citizens.